Welcome to Wise Guys Barbecue, a podcast you cannot refuse. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Spidell. Upgrade your wrist game with Spidell, combining over a century of craftsmanship with modern style. Spidell watch bands are durable, comfortable, and perfect for any occasion. Don't just wear a watch, wear a Spidell. Welcome back to Barbecue Safari with your favorite trio, Vin, Chip, and Tommy. This week we're diving into finger-licking good adventure in South Carolina. Taste some of the best barbecue that the state has to offer. We've got 4 jam-packed days of smoked meats, savory sauces, and southern hospitality. How you feeling, guys? I mean, the best news that we were highlighted last week, Chip, and we want everybody else to know. Tommy made it. Here he is. Tommy
made it.
Tommy the Butcher. It was a big concern for Chip and I, the weeks leading up to the trip, but he did show us that he had a 200-pound card, and that got him on the plane. And there you go. So, Tommy, we're glad you made it.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say something myself, and now you just kind of cut me off that because I had a little bit of a bone to pick from the ball busting I got that first episode. Like, what they questioned my veracity in terms of eating copious amounts of barbecue.
Especially since
wait a minute.
I haven't seen
Not
you in
only
like 35
that, my
years.
size and my weight. Now, these guys are big guys. I'm not a little guy.
But we
I'm
were
medium. I'm average.
We know, we know your trade, right? You're a butcher. You know everything about meat there is to know. So we weren't worried about that. We were just worried about, hey, it's a tough schedule, guys. It's 4 days of 4 restaurants per day, and I put on 9 pounds. I will not lie. I left 271. I came back 280.
7.
Yeah. So I went. I think I went. How much you put on, Tommy?
I literally weighed myself 2 days later, and I was the same.
You were the same.
And then I jumped on
This is why we don't bring guys like this.
This is why we were concerned.
Well, I didn't eat we didn't have a lot of sweets.
No.
We didn't eat a lot of like breads and pastas, that type thing.
Speak for
yourself. There was a lot of meat and a few vegetables.
Speak for yourself. Yeah, no, it was great. Well, we're glad you made it. And so this week we're talking about the safari, and we don't want to overlabor it. We don't want to make it run down the mill of all 13. We ended up going to 13. We had 14. One closed on us. Bad logistics for me. I should know better. I'm the logistics guy. But we got 13 in, and we were excited at all of them. Some of them were unbelievable. You folks will be hearing more episodes of articles on Barbecue News. Let's not forget our sponsor, by the way, Rhode Island BarbecueNews.com.
Love those guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. There's a nice article up there now written by Charlie on the smoking pig of Pendleton. Fantastic place. Morris, the manager there, really went out of his way to make us feel at home. And so we're going to have more content, absolutely. And we have a lot of live interviews with some. Some of these restaurants had some celebrity owners, and we met some of them, so that's cool. So you'll hear about that. Maybe not all tonight. We might have to break this over in the next couple episodes, just kind of. So I don't know. I guess let's go through the trip. And again, we'll give a little roundabout of what the trip is, and we'll pick our pest for now.
Sure.
And then we'll see where we go from there.
Sure. So if this is your first time with our podcast. We do these things called barbecue safaris, okay? And we've done 2. And basically we go down there and in 4 days hit as many barbecue places as we can. And it's a hectic schedule. And a lot of people have accused us of using this gig as a dodge to get away from home and drink and eat barbecue.
Of course it is.
And yes,
certainly.
okay, it is. But it's a hectic schedule, man. You land, get the rental car, and head out to the first spot.
And you go.
And then sometimes it's a good 45-minute, hour drive between spots. Other times it's 15 or 20 minutes, and you you got to make the recovery. You got to bounce back.
And the crash when it's over with is sudden. It's like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah. The meat coma.
Yep.
The meat sweats.
Yeah. All of that. Everything you think of when you think of three guys going down and eating as much barbecue as they can get their hands on. Yes, that's it. It does lead to some uncomfortable moments, and unlike last time, all my toilets worked at the hotel.
I have to say for myself, I thought I'd be in trouble. I didn't think I'd be able to. I didn't think I'd have the endurance to hit 4 barbecue restaurants in one day. I really thought I'd fall off the cliff after 2 or 3. But because it was so stretched out a little bit, I never felt that feeling that.
Yeah, because that's the worst for me. Like I'm a very emotional guy. Don't say anything about anything else.
I'm waiting.
That's it. Leave it alone. I am the crying wise guy. Thank you very much. But I go into these restaurants and I'm excited, right? I want to meet the guy I've been maybe talking to through email for the last month. I want to see the establishment. I saw a bunch of pictures. I know a lot about and then I go in there and then the food looks delicious and you go, oh yeah, I want 2 of those, 1 of those.
Yeah.
And then you go, I got to eat this now. How am I going to, I'm full. I don't, what am I going to do? But thank God the food is so damn good that we get it, we get through it and we somehow enjoy it.
Yeah. And you get to the point where you're like, I can't eat another bite of pulled pork. And then you go to the next place and their pulled pork is off the chain.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is amazing. And that just keeps happening with brisket, fried chicken. For me, that was the discovery that these 2 safaris is there's some great fried chicken.
Yeah, we had some good
right?
good plates,
the
especially
pig.
the very first plate, the palmetto pig.
Yeah.
And that very first place, Bubba's.
Yeah.
First time ever seeing calabash chicken on a menu.
Yeah, the bash chicken.
What is bash chicken?
Yeah.
So I had to do a little searching and Google searches and learn that it's basically a breading process that they use, and in the frying and the breading, it just develops a very light texture.
Yeah,
very
it's
fluffy.
not
It's not something that's heavy, crispy.
Yeah.
It was delicious, and
you really can't take it on site, right? Because it's right. But like you said, this is Bubba's. Right? We're talking about Bubba's?
Bubba's, the very
Bubba's
first
barbecue
day,
bash. So like you said, what the hell's bash? And what's it stand for? You looked it up.
Calabash. It was short for the word calabash.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was
Yeah,
reading
barbecue and bash. Like what's
so-
bash? They got a few guys in the back room duking it out.
You don't like it? Step out back.
something. Well, Bangers and Nash from
Bangers.
London.
That's an Irish thing.
It's an Irish. I don't.
Yeah,
Bangers and
Irish
mash.
bangers. It's a sausage.
I believe you.
You're
I'm all
rolling.
over the place.
Where are you?
I'm all right. I'm back. I'm good. I'm good. But
Bash,
my
bangers.
point is, I read a lot of reviews on this restaurant and talking about bash, and everybody's like, if I want chicken nuggets, I'll go to McDonald's. It's not chicken nuggets. No. There is a culinary aspect to the process of what they make, and it's very tasty. It's good. I was like, this is why people, bashing the bash. It was actually pretty good stuff.
Really good. And the dessert they had, which God knows where I found the strength to pass up on their strawberry cake for dessert, but I did.
Yeah, I talked you out of it. It was tough
Yeah,
because
and
that
I
was the
regretted
first.
it. The whole trip regretted it. And you just kept like, hey, boy, you should have tried that strawberry cake.
Well, you're right. 'Cause
On
we
day
didn't
4.
we didn't run into a lot of sweets, but like Tommy said, but and I remind people, we get up at 4 a.m. We're at the airport at 5. We get down there. We haven't eaten anything all day, and you stuff us right in front of barbecue, and you just want to eat with the feed bag, but you're going to do this over and over and over again. So you got to have some restraint.
So it was your first time. Popped your cherry on the safari, which
I did.
Excellent. How'd you do on the first day? How'd you feel on the first day?
I had a little bit of. I was skeptical that I'd be able to power my way through the whole ordeal, but I soon found that just by stretching it out over the entire day, you're basically eating 4 meals a day, and it's all barbecue. Mm-hmm. So it did have me wondering if I'd be able to push through all that.
Tommy, what was your favorite? If you had to pick one out of the 13,
The actual restaurant overall?
Yes.
Lewis, by far.
Lewis Barbecue. Yep. Yeah, that was, so we went there, Sunday?
We went there Sunday,
Yeah.
the very first stop.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it offered the whole ball of wax. It was independently owned, I believe. I don't think they They may have had one other location.
There's, I think, 2 locations, but it's still privately owned.
All right, but it wasn't a corporate type of vibe. It was upscale, but yet very down to earth as well.
Yes.
The food is fantastic. The day we went in there, they do daily specials every day of the week. We were there on a Sunday. We got the chicken fried steak. Wow. Couldn't have picked a better day.
Yeah, that was their special that day.
It was absolutely delicious. And we got a nice tour of their smoking room where they had 5, I think it was 4.
Definitely for maybe
1,000-gallon
smokers.
It was about that. And
it's freaking hot.
Hot as hell.
In that room.
I can't imagine working those pits all day long.
Chip had a great conversation with a couple of the guys.
I talked to, after you guys were, I can't remember the kid's name you were talking to, the manager. I just hung around because they were changing the wing. They were changing the wings, and I was on to get a look at it. But yeah, these guys are back there the whole time.
Mr. Opportunity.
And this one guy, Kyle, is just just a big dude.
Yeah, he was a big dude.
And I just looked at him and he's like, bro, I mean, how are you surviving back here? He goes, he goes, it's like anything else. You drink a lot of water and you get used to it. And then down here, some days it's hotter outside than it is inside. But I took that with a grain of salt because it was about 100 degrees in there.
Yeah, so just to give everybody a little bit of the backstory, that was the Sunday that we were leaving, and Debbie, the Hurricane Debbie, was blowing through Miami at the time, and we were already getting notifications saying, hey, the airport's going to be jammed, get there early, blah, blah, blah. So that's caused us to start our day early, which was a blessing in disguise because we ended up getting there 20 minutes before opening, and we were second in line. And so there was a line, and then that line, if we got there as planned at 11 o'clock, we probably wouldn't have had food.
Oh, we were in
12.
10 or 12 people back, easy.
Yes, and we wanted to get in and out of there by 12 so we could start our day. But that's cool. I mean, I would agree with you that the offerings were delicious. The service was great. The manager was nice. I owe a thank you to a girl I'm gonna remember because her name was Kat, C-A-T. Mm-hmm. I think Kat. Something was like 2 first names.
Yeah, we could figure out what's wrong for Kathy or what.
But she was their promotional company, and she was kind of like, oh yeah, we're not looking for any kind of advertising spots. I'm like, no, this is all free. This is we come, we pay, we put you on our podcast. So that was great, and we had a great time down there in Lewis, and that started off our Sunday. So that's cool. How about you, Chip? What was your top notch?
Me, I had a couple of places that were really close, but the one that got hit by the storm really bad, the Swig and Swine. Sorry, the Swig and Swine.
Yeah.
Great bar. It's just a big open layout, like a big sheet metal, building. But you go in there and it's wide open. The bar's down the right side. There's a big alligator skin hanging on the wall.
Yeah,
we had a great bartender, Becca, and I went to the bathroom. I came back. Vin just looked at me and said, "Yeah, we're gonna be drinking here for a little while."
Yeah. Well, that was
good.
Yeah. No, that was the end of our third day, and we kind of felt the weather changing with the storm coming. Yeah. But that was the intent. The intent was, and as advertised, Swig and Swine. There's a nice bar, and you're supposed to go and have some cocktails, and they had some great draft beers. And we found ourselves at the bar. I don't know how that always happens.
They had a great platter, some great brisket, pork belly.
We got pork belly. That was the first and only pork belly we had the entire trip.
Correct.
Tremendous.
That was good.
But it was outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah. So
great platter.
Great presentation.
Tommy called them out early, and before we even left, it was Anthony DiBernardo is the owner of the restaurant chain. He's a private owner of 6 restaurants in South Carolina, and we went to Monk's Corner, and that's the one where it's basically in I want to say intercoastal, but not like you would find in Florida.
On a lake.
It looks like a lake,
it's on the water,
but it definitely is ocean water there because the tides is what caused the swell, and he was probably underwater about foot and a half in that storm. So. He had to close down for a while. He had to get everything straightened out. But it's amazing. It's a testament to his crew. His crew came in, cleaned the place up, got in all the professionals, the plumbers, the gas pipe guys, and all that stuff, get everything back up and running. I think they open, if not every day, they're open Tuesday through Sunday. and I think they might have had to stay closed Tuesday and Wednesday, but they're back online. And Anthony, God bless you. It was great meeting you on the phone. We had a good conversation. I know you're going to be working more with RI BBQ News to get an article up, and maybe we can get you calling in on one of these podcasts. That would be terrific. But you have a great restaurant over there. Chip truly enjoyed it, picked it as his number one. Becca, that girl is just a sweetheart. Great gift for Gab.
She knew the restaurant. She had information, that showed that she knew who her owner was and what he expected. And, her comment to us was, we have a great team here. And that's how he's successful, is he has great people. He's built great teams at all his restaurants. And Anthony has people he can trust. And when you have that going for you, it's easy for him not to have to be at any one place, for a long time. I think he was down in Myrtle Beach the day we were in Monk's Corner.
Correct. We couldn't meet him physically because we were about 2 hours away from each other. And with that whole trying to get our process done before the Debbie rolled through, we couldn't risk adding him in. But it was great that we talked to him on the phone. And,
but the point she was making was like, you got the feel of Anthony and how he likes to run his thing by going to this place. Even though we didn't meet him personally, you could see the attention to detail and the excellent servers and the way the place is run. Spotless, great bathroom, great bar, outdoor seating, overlooks the lake. Well, it's part of the lake now. By the way, thank you, Becca, for saving me, because I was ready to jump in that lake. I was so hot, but she saved me, saying, you don't want to do that because there's alligators in there, as you can see by the one that's hanging on the wall. So there's a shout out to you, Becca. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Great place. The only other place that came in close for me was Big T's, which is in a shopping mall. And it's just a total opposite of this place. It's just a very small, maybe like 10, 12 tables, not a huge menu, but the food was fantastic. Just a great atmosphere. And they just, people come in, grab and go. And they have some people stay to sit down. But just a total operation, just bare bones, simple, basic. And that's not a knock.
Yeah.
When I say it's bare bones, they're doing one thing and they do it really well.
So their menu is more like, I attribute it towards soul food. They had this
kind of.
Yeah, they had the collard greens, they had the oxtail, they had fried fish,
which was great.
They had pig feet on the menu.
Oh yeah,
which I didn't eat.
Yeah. I saw it up there, and I got the same impression leaving Big T's and telling everybody about our trip. It was the most quote unquote soul food establishment we went to. They were great people.
Yeah. Oh no, they couldn't do enough. And the food was great. My favorite was day 2. First stop was Heights Barbecue, and interesting place, great place. Met the owner, David Hite, Hite. It's a family-owned establishment. I think it was opened up in 1957. He has the original pits in the building. The building is actually built around the pits. The pits were in the backyard. They covered it and moved on from there. But he had 2 open fires in the back for 2 different kind of woods that he was burning for coal that he threw under his pits. And he was finishing his cook. I think we got there and realized being even though it was a Saturday, he closed at 2. I guess there's a lot of hunting goes on out there. So,
yes,
yeah,
quite a bit.
So he still had some ribs on. He had some chickens on, and he showed us the pits. Again, we had a great interview. You'll probably see that interview on Rhode Island Barbecue News, as well as some pictures of Dave. Met his whole staff there. There were some really great. I mean, young and old. There were some younger kids there that were chopping pig. They do the whole hog. There, we didn't see a hog there.
Shelling peanuts.
Boiled peanuts.
Yeah.
First time ever.
Yeah.
Never heard of it, never seen of it.
No, and it's a big deal out there. We saw a truck on the side of the road too.
Yeah,
right. So
absolutely.
it's like our Dell's lemonade. But yeah, no, it was really good. The food was very good. We actually sat outside by the lake they have there right on the property and enjoyed. I got the chicken. So that ended up being after the second third day, I started going more towards the chicken just to have a different taste of what I'm experiencing in the cook. And the chicken was fantastic. Food was great. I loved it. Authentic. I couldn't say enough. He's so kind. Just talked to us like normal people. He told us that he was approached by Hollywood. Hollywood wanted to come out and do a reality show. And he was like, you Hollywood people, just stay over there.
I got a joint to run. I don't have time for this nonsense.
Open only 2 days a week.
Amazing.
How? I don't. I gotta. There was 2 restaurants like that I gotta go back out and inquire and say, how do you do it? Is it because you got something else going on the other 5 days that doesn't include barbecue? Is there a day job? Like what is it that causes you only to cook on Saturdays and Sundays? And
well, when I was talking to Dave out back, admiring his wood pile. I asked him the same question. I was like, bro, 2 days a week. I mean, how you? He's like, I'm the only show in town here. I do all the cooking.
Yep.
I chop the wood. I do. I don't have anybody else, and I've tried to get people in.
Yeah.
But it's tough when you don't have somebody in the family coming up that cares as much as you do.
True.
So sometimes it just ends up that way. And he's like, I've just accepted it, and this is what I love to do. And I like to do this, and I like to hunt and fish.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tommy.
My fondest vision of Heights was being in the back room while he was showing us his pits, looking up at the rafters, and actually seeing the flavor.
Yes.
You could actually taste the flavor in those rafters. It was like stalactites falling of barbecue.
A lot of history in that ceiling.
Barbecue stalactites.
A lot of history in that ceiling.
Definitely.
Yeah, very, very authentic. And he told us, I think he had with the grease from the pork fires at the end of the day, he had a little grease fire. He let it go. He's like 3 minutes out back.
He was taking a leak.
Exactly. And
came back in and oh my God.
Sorry. But anyways, he for sure had a flash fire in there, and we saw the charred wood up top because it was an open rafter ceiling with big fans, exhaust fans that drew out the air. And still, it very rustic, great. Anyway, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? And Dave knows what he's doing.
Total takeout. I mean, everything's takeout. You go in there. We had the sandwiches. The pulled pork sandwich was off the chain.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep. I'd like to share my 3 highlights of the entire trip.
Okay, go for it.
Number 1 was...
Can I pause you 1 minute?
Yes.
I just want to I have to drink wine.
Absolutely.
I'm not the same person. I'm not the same person unless I drink.
I will hold that thought.
So I wanted to follow up on something we promised our listeners. And,
absolutely.
We're doing a wine review. So today we have Oreno from Tuscany. It's a 2019 vintage. It was very, very popular. It got a 98 out of 100 on Wine Enthusiast magazine. It flies under the radar with liquor stores. It's about $100 a bottle right now. And thank God for our friend Kyle over at Gasparro Liquors in Providence, Rhode Island.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. He always keeps our costs as bare minimum as he has to, because he knows that we ain't got no money. We need sponsors, folks.
And we're all drunk, so he's got to help us out.
So anyways, thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Gasparro Liquors. And gentlemen, I give you Oreno. Cheers.
I've been drinking it since we started. So.
Oops. All right, Tommy, I feel so much better. Continue.
Good.
Give me the 3 takeaways.
All right, I want to bring you back to, I forgot the name of it. Henry's Smokehouse.
Yes, David. We met David. He said his last, no.
Was it Billy? Billy.
Yes.
So anyways, a mom and pop place.
Yep.
Counter service, very small staff, great food. We went in, we tried just about everything. They had a nice combination plate, and we had the opportunity. We went in the back and spoke to their pitmaster in the kitchen, Billy, who had a great story to tell. Evidently, he was the pitmaster there for about 30 years, 20 years.
Yeah, he's been there a long time.
And he showed us the smoker, and he was in the middle of doing a whole batch of pork butts.
Yep.
In the special moment, he reached in with a knife in his hand, reached into the smoker, grabbed the butt, and he sliced off the money muscle.
Oh yeah, he treated us.
And he goes, hey, I want you guys to try this. He proceeded to cut it in like 3 nuggets, put it in a little cup, spooned over his special mustard sauce, and we all reached in and grabbed that one little nugget.
Yeah.
And that
did it for you.
That did it.
You can hear the angels singing.
That's why we went there. That's number 1. Number 2
That's
was
a great idea, by the way.
Rodney Scott's whole hog barbecue.
Yes.
The final day.
Yeah, the king.
We had the pleasure of being escorted to the smoking room by Chris.
Sam.
Yes. That's right. How could I forget that?
I don't know.
And
because we met like 37
he
people.
actually told us we were there just on time. We were there about 11:30.
Yeah.
Was it later?
Yeah.
Says you guys are here just on time. We're about to pull their whole pig they had on their pits.
That was the last whole hog of the day.
We walked in the back. Once again, another room had to be 150 degrees at least. And he was showing us the pits. He had 2 split pigs in 2 different ones. Wings are in another one. But we were actually standing there talking to him, and he was physically pulling the meat from the pig.
So I don't know.
And
how he did that.
He pulled a little piece and went to each one of us and said, here, try that.
Yeah.
And I actually stood there with
scalding hot meat in your hand.
actual hog.
Yeah.
Right off the smoker.
Yeah.
Right off the pit. Right from the pitmaster's hand.
It was amazing.
And put that little bite in your mouth. It's like, come on.
And I'm not, like I say this, having tried pulled pork a lot of places by now, that was the best pulled pork I've ever tasted. It was obviously because he pulled it right off the bone.
And not only that, so you have their mojo sauce that they make, and they season the hog in, and that's roasting because it was belly up, and that's roasting in the skin of the pig, which is all the pig fat with that wonderful seasoning mix, and he's pulling the pork with his fingers, which. My wife.
Was he wearing gloves?
He had just sanitized gloves on. He didn't have any kind of. There was no temper control in those gloves at all. Because I said
not that would have stopped us.
No, he could have fed it with his feet.
I was just going to say that.
Pick out the
pull that right out of my head.
But he mixed it in the sauce, and I could kind of see him pulling back, and I'm like. It's hot, and he's gonna, put this in your hand, and I know you because I do the same thing. You put it in my hand, you might as well just put it in my mouth like Sunday communion. Like it just goes right in, and it's scalding hot, and I'm like, But hey, it was good. It was delicious. So thank you, Sam. That was a treat.
Yeah.
And thanks. So I don't know. I got the idea that the connections to the restaurants prior to the event helped because it seemed like everywhere we went, we got a little special something. Rodney Scott being there for a appointment.
That was total.
I think that was out of the blue.
I want to say, was that planned? Did you do something about that?
No, I just told him when and where, and
there
like
he was.
I said, there he was. And then Big T's, same thing. When we got to Big T's, there was somebody going in the door, and we didn't know who he was. We thought he could have been a worker or a customer. We had no clue, but he ended up being Big T, and he's a little bit older and he's a little bit fragile. And he had a great interview with us. But but my point is, you could tell he probably doesn't go there every day. But he was there.
I think he definitely came because we were coming in there.
And we had a set appointment with him. So that was kind of cool that those guys did that. But meeting Rodney.
I think
that was.
I think Rodney was just like, these things keep happening to us. Like we just run into people and things just fall our way for some reason. And
Guys,
I can't explain.
That was the frosting on the cake.
Yeah.
I mean, to meet him on our final stop as we were leaving, getting ready to go to the airport, and there's Rodney Scott standing on the sidewalk, a 2018 James Beard Award recipient, best chef of the Southeast.
I sent
Outstanding.
Did you get that picture I sent you? I found his book in the bookstore the other day.
Oh, no.
Did you get that picture? Maybe I didn't send it.
No,
I didn't get to my third
you must
highlight.
know. I was going to go back there. I was going to say Tommy has a third.
Hold on to that.
I saved the best for last.
Let's go there now. What do you got?
All right, my best for last. I have never experienced such heavy goddamn chairs in all my life.
Where was that?
I was at a few places.
The Bash.
Bubba's Bash was number one, but we encountered them.
Bubba's Bash was the heavy
You couldn't
chairs.
you couldn't move. We tried to slide them to get up. You couldn't. It was just like
they were from the Titanic. They actually came off the Titanic. No
incredible.
Doubt. No
Anyways,
doubt.
They
No doubt.
obviously
had to get that
had
one
all
in
their
there.
chairs stolen.
Just a memory.
Their chairs were obviously stolen at one time, and they said, "Well,
we're going to
we're just gonna have 82-pound chairs now, and people are not gonna." not going to
that, or they were worried about someone driving through the restaurant, and that was going to stop it. Like those cement pillars out in front of the banks. You see,
like concrete barriers.
And I know you think, oh, these guys are exaggerating. No, these are the heaviest chairs I've ever encountered.
Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Ridiculous. So it was terrific, and I think another great piece that we added because of the butcher. His other big I don't even know. I mean, what do you want to call it? It's your obsession in life, your plight in life,
passion,
bourbon. You know,
bourbon.
That's your one. So Tommy, we talked about it. I said, guys, we never number one, barbecue one, we never made it past 7:30. We never got to the bar. We never had a drink. We never decompressed. And I said, this is something we got to do. We got to be social.
Definitely.
We just can't be barbecue eating machines. So I said, Tommy, find a bourbon place, and we ended up finding one on our second night. And that was fun. That was great.
What was the name of that place?
That was
Bourbons.
Bourbon. Columbia. Bourbon. Columbia.
Yeah, Bourbon Columbia. Columbia Bourbon. So nice place, restaurant in the middle. It had like 2 lounges, 3-door, kind of in a strip mall. The center was the restaurant. The 2 outsides were lounges, and great selection of different bourbons. And Tommy knows his bourbon. So he
knew more than a waitress.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
She was struggling.
I
felt sorry.
Well, what did she do to you? You at your first order?
The first 3 tequila. They came. Yeah. Well, the first 3 they came back. Oh, we don't have that.
Yeah.
And then I saw something on the menu, and I questioned her on that one.
Yeah.
And she let me know that they did have it. She went to go get it, and as I was waiting, I said, "Wait a minute." I want to go see this bottle.
Let me make
because
sure.
something just didn't add up.
The price.
It just didn't add up.
The price didn't add up.
When what she said it was and what the price, it just didn't make sense. So I walked up to the bar, and I'm waiting for her to come back, and I see she was with a bartender, and they're holding 2 bottles out. Both of them are clear liquid, certainly not a bourbon. And I'm looking at it, and they're like presenting the bottles to me, and I see George T. Stagg, because that's what I was ordering.
Yes.
But it was tequila.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
I didn't even know they made it tequila.
No kidding. So, so that was that. And then it must have been the manager, the hostess, kind of.
The girl that, the head bartender.
She approached the table with a bottle and explained to me what they had and what the confusion was. And I was happy to oblige her and what she happened to offer. And it was great. She even asked me if I wanted a Glencairn or...
What's that? What's a Glencairn?
A Glencairn is a whiskey glass, and it's somewhat fluted.
Oh, yeah.
It's short, and it has a wider down the bottom, and it comes up.
Yeah, I call it a bourbon glass.
Yeah, it's a bourbon glass.
No, I don't know. I don't know any better. That's why I call it a bourbon.
It's designed to allow you to... to rotate it, sift it, aerate it a little bit, similar to a wine glass.
Gotcha.
And
it doesn't come in a brown paper bag.
No,
right.
Big Thank you. Thank you. You can't.
Yeah, that was a great
drink
night.
it with your nose.
That was a good
night. That was fun. I'm glad we did that because that gave us some kind of
we had
civility.
Some kickback time. Some people watching.
Well, it's a lot of work eating barbecue. It's a lot.
So I want to try to explain this. It's a weird job, right? Because you wake up. At least I do. I wake up. I got an agenda. I know what I'm doing. I have my notes. I know who we're meeting. I want to get going. You can't get going. That's the problem. Because you got to wait for these guys to open up, right? They're usually the earliest you find somebody that opens up at 11 o'clock. So we make our first run for 11, and then we go from there. We try to get one every hour in until about 4 o'clock, and we can't eat anymore. But the funny part about this whole thing is that, so what do you do from 8 a.m. when you get out of the shower until 10 o'clock you get on the road?
Do you want me to tell you?
Well, wait, let me set it up. Let me set it up a little bit more.
Is this a PG show?
So like I pack my bags and I go down to the lobby, right? Because that's where the coffee is. And I grab a cup of coffee and I might take my something out and review the day again for my 9th time that morning. And I check in with the guys, right? Me and Chip like to have a cigarette in the morning. So who has the lighter? Who has the keys to the car? I don't smoke. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Mom, I don't smoke.
So anyways, all of a sudden I'll be like, hey, Chip, where are you? And he's like, I'm downstairs in the lobby. There's free bacon. So I'm thinking, in my head, I'm going, I just took the most amazing bowel movement that morning from yesterday's work, I guess you could call it. And he's downstairs eating. How does he do it? But it's a weird thing. It's like you go for 4 days and all you eat is barbecue, which is great. But you kind of miss breakfast, right? Because everybody starts their day with something. I don't care if you have a bagel, a piece of toast, whatever you have at home. But you start your day with something and you feel like you might want to, and then you realize you're eating.
I got to eat all day. Why am I going to say? Listen, in my defense, I know these guys are going to, try and rat me out. In my defense, it was free bacon. Okay, it's free bacon. What do
you got to.
I mean, how strong do you think I am? How much willpower do you think I have?
If I knew that, I would have been there too. So.
You absolutely have a point. Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that. And that,
I didn't think so.
And then usually you get everybody at these restaurants have that waffle maker, which is cool because come on, let's face it comes down to smells. You're smelling waffles, you're smelling pancakes, you're smelling
the coffee,
bacon, the coffee. You get hungry and you want to go partake. So you go over there, and that just kind of brings up the whole thing with, I don't know about you guys. When I was growing up, it was Sundays it was a cool day. My mom used to go to church Saturday evenings. My dad used to like to go to church Sunday morning. So and if I would try to miss both. But what I would remember is coming home either from church with my dad or waking up because I was able to miss it, and smelling the food being cooked, bacon getting done up, and the pancakes. You can't you smell that griddle, you smell that pancakes getting cooked, and she's getting everything ready for Dad. Everything was for Dad, and you're just like I gotta get down there. I gotta get some of those pancakes.
Yeah, the odor, the odor wafting up the stairs. And let me tell you a story about the Reverend. All right. Now, this is when the Reverend and I were living together at Power Street.
Okay.
And you were part of many of those adventures.
Yes.
Well, my dad and I lived together. He was a chaplain at Brown for numerous years. And when you're the chaplain, it comes with a free house. So we had this big house on Power Street up on the east side. Yeah. Huge house. I mean, it's so big we had to, have students live in the third floor because there was so much room up there. It was crazy. But anyway, so after a night of howling at the moon with this character, the Reverend would bring me breakfast in bed on a Sunday morning.
God bless him.
And I managed to not throw up every time, Thanks, Thanks, Dad. No, I appreciated it. But, when you're hungover a little bit and the pork comes along.
Oh, yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I ate it. I ate it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the breakfast always has fond memories. And, I do that stuff for my kids, too. And
I remember growing up with a Sicilian grandmother, and one of the most fondest breakfast memories I can recall was, especially on Sunday mornings, fried meatballs for breakfast.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Fried meatballs.
Yeah, no, I've heard of that.
Now, why? Because she was cooking them for later in the day and she was giving you
that was the intent.
To eat
It was fried meatballs for breakfast. Yeah. We'd have that and we'd all get in the car and go to church.
That's awesome. Sounds like how I eat now.
Priest with the love giving
over
you
the
communion.
years, I've run into other people who actually experienced those same things. Either they had a grandmother or a mother who would do the same thing.
I remember my mom used to get the gravy on, right? They used to mix their gravy, open the cans, get it all on the stove, and then we'd kind of put it on low simmer to go to church and come back, whatever. But never had fried meatballs first. I remember the thing. It goes back to the pancake thing because, an age-old discussion, I guess, right? Are you a syrup soaker or are you a syrup dunker? Like, how do you
or a soaker?
Yeah. How do you? How about you, Chip? What do you prefer? Do you have a preference there?
Very simple. If it's French toast sticks from Burger King, I'm dunking. If it's pancakes, which I don't eat a whole lot, but if it's pancakes, I'm soaking.
Okay. All right. How about you, Tommy?
The secret to the whole thing is butter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where though? Where is it?
I love buttery syrup.
Oh yeah.
I actually have a ratio in concocting it.
Oh Jesus!
You make your own?
I'll take out. It has to be warm. It has to be melted butter with the warm syrup, it's actually maybe a 2-to-1 ratio, butter to syrup.
Yeah.
Because you want the butteriness, but you want a little sweet behind it. And I'll tell you what to put that on, and it's a killer whether it's for breakfast or late at night when you got the munchies and you don't, there's nothing around. You don't have cake, you don't have brownies, you don't have cookies. I have Legos. I mean, Eggos.
Oh,
Legos.
God.
I have Eggos in the freezer.
And that's it.
Grab them, pop them in the toaster, get them just a little crispy.
Yeah.
In the meantime, get the butter and the syrup going. Now it's a process.
Yeah.
And then you just pour the butter and the syrup
love
over,
Eggos.
and you.
So I see the biggest
Outstanding.
mistake. The biggest mistake people make with the butter, though, I've learned, is that they don't butter in between the pancakes. Right? They just put that one thing on top, and
exactly.
they expect it. No, you got to get some
underneath
inside each. You know, I don't need a lot, like 7 or 8 pancake stack. That's about all I have, right? But you need to have that, one stick of butter layered in between each one. It looks like a Big Mac, right? From McDonald's.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And,
because you've got those pancakes down the bottom. What are they getting? They're not seeing anything. They don't even get air down there.
Yeah. Well, so I've seen some people be really creative, and they actually cut like a hole or a square in the center.
On. That's a little.
Well, what it does is it soaks from the bottom up. It's like, almost
Really?
like what's the Jesus Christ? I'm such a bad Italian. I'm sorry, wise guys, people. The cake that they have at Christmas, it's the rum cake. It's soaked in the rum.
Zupa and glaze.
Soup and glaze. Thank you very much. So you have that soup and glaze. You have that. It's a sponge cake, which they keep it unfrosted for about 3 or 4 days, and all they do during that time is continue to pour it with rum and soak rum into it.
I've had it.
And then they layer this unbelievable, like fondant-like frosting afterwards. It's delicious, and you're cocked. I don't care.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You give that to anybody.
It's
you're
amazing
cocked.
how much that can absorb those things.
The thing ends up being like 9 or 10 pounds. It's like carrying a small pig around. No, it's amazing.
Just make sure it doesn't slide off the plate.
Yep.
Wash down the road.
Yeah. Well, that's if there was a soup and glaze pancake, that's what I would decide to eat. So for sure, it's hard, not to give up breakfast, and it's also hard to eat breakfast. But that's how we found ourselves. We find ourselves in the morning, a couple packs of cigarettes, to say it, and our bacon and our pancakes, and then we're ready to go.
The other thing is on your bacon, on your sausage, on your ham. Put that syrup on it.
Oh yeah,
There's something about the salty and the sweet together. It's
can't go wrong.
No, it's fantastic. And you can make the debate with barbecue sauce, right? So there's some people
absolutely
do not want a stitch of sauce on their pork ribs. They just want it dry rubbed, smoked, and in their mouth. That's all they want. And then there's other people that my oldest boy has to have it slathered with sauce and then almost grilled off, so it's tacked on, which I do make when I do. I don't even do it on my brisket now. My brisket. There you go. My brisket comes out so good.
Best
I can't waste any of the deco on burnt ends. I make my own burnt ends out of a pig butt separately, but I'll do I'll do burnt ends. So with the barbecue sauce and honey and brown sugar.
That's not me.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
We had this conversation before.
I thought we talked about this.
Anyways,
So much for that.
The burnt ends are like that, like a saucy pancake. I mean, and it brings an age-old question: do you sauce your ribs or do you eat them dry? Which I want to go back to. Tommy, your favorite place over at, or one of your highlights at Henry's Smokehouse.
Henry's.
When we were talking to Bill, what I found really interesting was he showed us how after he smokes his pig for so long, he takes it out, he wraps it in aluminum, and he puts his mustard on it, and then he goes back into the ovens. And then what he shared with us was after he's done with his cook, and he take that Reynolds wrap off, that drippings mixed with the mustard gets collected into pans and then gets boiled off and almost distilled. And they use that resin, I want to say the remnants of that whole process in their sauce. They make their sauce
talk about
with that stuff. So it's
reprocessing.
It's just love on top of love. It's just, it's.
Yeah, there was layers of that there.
Yeah.
In most of the places, especially the little mom and pop type places that
nothing's wasted.
No.
Nothing's wasted.
You could just feel it.
Yep. Yeah, that was
Special.
Also McCabe's was
McCabe's was another one.
Yeah, all family and probably the best whole hog and probably the best pork. Sorry, Rodney. Sorry, Sam. I mean, yours was off the hook, off the grill like it was, but they just gave us a pulled pork sandwich with their vinegar sauce.
Tremendous.
Was I think I ate almost more like drinking so much of that vinegar sauce.
Yeah.
That it closed my throat. When I was trying to talk later on, I kept choking and gagging. I was like, "What's causing this?" Like, it's the vinegar still in my throat.
We missed the chicken. They were sold out. And I was a little surprised by that because I was looking at the clock and wait a second, was it 2-ish? Somewhere like that?
Yeah, he said, and I asked him, I said, why is it sold out? And he said, well, because we make a certain amount. And over the years, we've realized that to start another batch, we're only going to sell a portion of it, and now you got
Makes sense.
3/4 of it left over. So when it's done, it's done. And we just came a little late.
Yeah, so it's and you know, you bring up another great topic, and we can talk about this for another half hour. But you know, nobody in Rhode Island, I'm going to say Rhode Island, I'm going to say New England. Nobody in New England gets the sold out mentality.
No,
right?
no.
You cook an X amount. You go until you're ready to serve, and then you go until you're sold out, and that's all that happens. And
the only places up here to subscribe to other donut places.
Yeah, maybe.
The donut places.
Right.
Yeah, we're out. You know.
Yeah, because they want them fresh. But if, like you tell it, like, what do you mean you sold? Go make more.
Right.
You know, I don't have 15 hours right here, buddy. You got to go away. Come back tomorrow. You go away now.
Exactly.
And in the world of barbecue, that's critical because there's a lot of barbecue restaurants who fail because of holding product for too long.
Right.
If you've overproduced, you know, you're going to hold it for an extended amount of time or pull it and put it back into the, you know, the warmers, the alto shams the next day for service. So you're basically getting
Tommy's starting to use
product.
big words. Tommy's starting to use big words. I'm getting
Alto
nervous.
sham.
Because you don't get your consistency.
Hey, I just
you don't get your quality.
Absolutely. And
No, you're
I've
right.
been to
And
so
it's
many
dry. It becomes
barbecue
dry, right?
restaurants and you can see that right away.
Yeah, and then it's like to what everybody's saying, right? So now you got dry pork, and you know what do? Yeah, I gotta sauce it. So now you get dry sauced pork, and it's not good. People don't want it. They don't enjoy it. It's nothing better than that fresh pork,
or even or brisket when it gets pot roasty.
Yeah.
It's been around too long, hanging on too long, and it just goes downhill.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for putting up with us again today. You know, we you know, unfortunately, guys, we ran over. You know, we want to keep these things pretty quick, and we get carried away with Safari 2. It was just awesome. You know, so we're gonna have to do another one of these episodes more about Safari 2, and more about, you know, because there was some real, you know, you agree, the real gems with Rodney Scott and. We want to talk a little bit more about that, who we met, you know, how the actual food experience was. So, yeah, and we've been getting your emails. Thank you very much. Your posts on social media. Folks are giving us what we're asking for. You know, we're looking for suggestions for Safari 3. You know, we don't know where to go. We got some ideas. We're going to, you know, down the road safaris, Texas, Puerto Rico, Argentina. We're definitely Memphis. Yeah, we got some things lined up for those. But other than those states, if you had another state that you like, hit us up. Let us know what state you think it is and why, and what your favorites are in those states, and we'll go from there. So, of course, I want to thank everybody for tuning in yet again. And we're going to have our website. The other exciting news is our website is going to get launched this week. wiseguysbarbecue.com. It's a podcast website. It's got all the links to our episodes on there. It's got all the information on our sponsors and who we are and why we do this crazy thing. And so if you have any questions, you know, we don't have an info email address. We have one even better. You can always email Fredo at wiseguysbarbecue.com. Fredo will absolutely take all your information and keep it as secret as he can, and maybe even say a Hail Mary for you when he passes on the information. But yeah, email Fredo, Fredo at wiseguysbarbecue.com. Any suggestions, any questions, because we want to hear from you. We're also looking to provoke your interests with an opportunity. You know, we want to hear your stories. We don't care if they're you know, epic failures or if they're wonderful events. If you were an untouchable Don, or you got whacked in the process of either cooking or making a recipe or attaching your trailer to your truck. We don't care what story you want to share, but if you got a story you want to share, please email us a story. If we select your story and we read it on air, we'll have some gifts for you. We'll be happy to. Our sponsors, Spidell.com, All Temps, Labor Leasing, and Rhode Island Barbecue have given us a whole host of swag that we have here to give away to folks. So we'll be happy. Yeah, so if you want to get a hold of that swag, please send us your stories. We'll have Fredo and Tommy and Charlie pan over them. We'll select one and we'll read it on the air. We'll share your story with the rest of our audience, and we'll get you some swag. So thank you very much on that. What do you guys got? You got anything else for closing on podcast 4? This is podcast 4.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I can't wait to 285 or 291.
We'll get there.
But
we'll get there. Listen, we're here to entertain you guys and talk about stuff we love talking about. And hopefully you enjoy it. And hopefully you have a few laughs. You get a little information from us. And welcome to Tommy the Butcher. You did great, Tommy. Fit right in.
Thank you.
And
it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and you fit right in the safari too.
Yeah, we're gonna off air. We're gonna twist Tommy's arm. We're gonna try to get him to go out to Lynchburg, Tennessee, to do the jack for us. But,
I think I smell a rat.
So, anyways, yeah, thanks, folks, for
thank you very much
tuning in. And till next time, keep grilling, keep the smoke rolling, and have fun. Be safe. Thank you. The content presented in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The hosts do not claim to be experts or professionals in the barbecue industry. Always practice safe cooking techniques when using fire or open flame. The opinions expressed are solely those of the hosts and guests.